In this video, I'm going to walk through how to build a college football betting model using ESPN's Football Power Index. Hello everyone, Jonathan with Excel Bets, and we got 2024 college football season about to kick off. And with that, we need to start placing some sports bets. So I have ESPN pulled up here. This is their new formatted FPI layout for college football. And we have all the teams listed, and we can see just some of the columns that they have pulled in here. The win-loss, obviously we got a bunch of zeros because season really hasn't gone underway. We got the FPI and then the corresponding rank, projected win percentages, and for different win out, 6 wins, division, conference, and so forth. But what we care about is this FPI number, and we're going to take that, we're going to be able to convert it into a spread and Moneyline model. So if we scroll down to the bottom, it has just what the Football Power Index is. It's a measure of a team's strength, and it's the best predictor going forward for the rest of the season. And then what really matters is it's how many points above or below average a team is based on 20,000 simulations. So if you want to say that this FPI number is a good predictor of a team's strength and want to be able to leverage that and build a sports betting model off of it, this is the video for you. So I'm going to flip over to Excel. This is the model I've built. And the first part is just bringing in the data. And I will say that I'm going to have a future video of how to pull this in using Power Query. But for this video, just for simplicity's sake, if you don't want to go through and actually, if you don't have Excel or if you don't want to do the Power Query option, we're just going to just highlight everything and do a copy paste because that is easy to implement into any spreadsheet that you're working with. So do that, Control C, then do a Control V, get all of our data. And if you do Control G, a lot of controls here. Control G, it's going to bring up a go-to. And then if you click Special and you go down here to Objects, you can click OK, and it's going to highlight all of those team icons, and you can hit Delete if you don't want to have those in your model. Unfortunately, it's going to stack all the teams in their conference above the power index table that we want. So what I've done is just created a simple reference. Wherever you copy it in, make sure you copy it in the same cell each time. Just make a simple cell reference to B3 is what I have. So pull in Georgia, the top ranked team, and then just drag that down and just make sure you get all the teams in your FPI table. So that's all we need to do as far as data. And then from there, I have a drop down of the different matchups, and I'm just doing a VLOOKUP off that FPI to bring in FPI value. So North Carolina, Minnesota Golden Gophers, we got 4.7 for the Tar Heels and then 0.4 for the Gophers. And the corresponding rank, projected win, loss. I just bring this in just because I think it's interesting data, designate them as away or home. And then we've got to peg a home field advantage. And for that, I'll have a link in the description to what I used. I used this Boyd's Bet. He has a really good home field advantage support file here that has every team, their record, and then true advantage at the home versus away. And you can just do a VLOOKUP off of all the teams. And then there is a college football average. So if you don't want to go and designate each team individually for a home field advantage, I think 3.18 or 3 would be a really good proxy that you could use for all your home teams. Or if you want to be team specific, you can pull in that. Again, I'll have a link in the description to that, and you can build that into your model. So we need to add our home field advantage, and that's really all you need to do to be able to come up with a spread value. What I've done is just taken FPI difference. So 4.7 minus 0.4 is 4.3, and then the opposite for the underdog. And then from there, I've got this formula where I'm just rounding it, adding in the home field advantage to 0.5 increments because spread values are going to be in whole or half point increments. So take that formula, adjust the cell references to however your model looks, and you can be able to round that. So this mRound function is how I'm getting to the 0.5 increments. I do have to add a little bit of complexity with the formula because mRound doesn't work with negative values. So that's why I have the absolute value logic there. But feel free to take that. Or if you like this model, I'll have a link in the description. You can purchase it via Etsy. But that gets us to a net spread value of -1 and +1. So pretty tight game here of Tar Heels a slight favorite over the Gophers. Looking at a matchup, Temple versus Oklahoma, so big FPI difference here, minus 17.7 versus 17.2. And Oklahoma's at home, so almost a 4-point adjustment there. Gets us to a net 39-point spread. So big disparity there. And you can keep going down, and I just have it so drop down and be able to select the team and then pull in the FPI for those. That's how I have it structured, and then bringing in some more additional just useful information. Nothing's really driven off this. And then I'm converting those spread values to win percentages. And to do that, I'm using Pro Cappers, has a point conversion table, just looking at the point spread and what that corresponds to for win percentage for the favorite underdog. It goes up to 20, so anything above 20 point spread, I'm saying, is a 100% likelihood, and that would just be something you wouldn't want to bet on. And I'm bringing in the corresponding applied odds with those win percentages, converting those to American odds. So that's how I've structured it. But with that, how do we actually place bets off this? Well, I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to show you several examples that you can use for week 1 of college football to bet on. So let's go back over here. We've got our FPI data pulled in, and I like to use Sportsbook Review for my line shopping. And so let's look at, and one caveat, this is only FBS teams for the Football Power Index. So any FBS versus FCS matchup won't work with this logic. It's only really applicable for the first couple weeks of the season. But as you get farther in the season, you're going to get into conference games, and that won't even be an issue. But for this first week, you really want to look at just your FBS versus FBS matchups. So North Carolina, Minnesota, we can see the lines at minus 1.5 for North Carolina, or minus 2, versus Minnesota plus 1.5 or plus 2. This is really helpful if you've had 2 screens, but we can go look at what our spread value is. So we're at minus 1 or plus 1. So any of those plus 1.5 or plus 2 for Minnesota would be potential bets. And how to structure that is you could just type up here, Minnesota Golden Gophers. What a spread movement from 1 to 2 would be worth. That'd be worth 6 points or a fair odd of minus 106. And I have a free model for you if you want to be able to do that yourself. Link in the description. I did a video on that just a couple days ago. So current spread is plus 1. That's fair. It's going to be at plus 100 odds or minus 100 odds, basically 50-50 odds, no big. And you want to move to plus 2. What's that 1 point spread to 2 point spread worth? It's worth minus 6 points or minus 106. So you want an additional point of coverage, we'll call it. So you've got to give up points. You've got to pay the sportsbook minus 6 points or accept minus 106 odds. So that's the logic. Again, this is completely free model. You can just plug in your current spread and what you're moving to, and it's going to tell you what a break-even line would be for that. So that's how to read it. There's not going to be a bet with that movement, but we can look at this Temple Oklahoma game. So we're looking for plus 39. Go back to Sportsbook Review. Temple Oklahoma. So all the games are saying that, all the sportsbooks are saying that actually Temple is around the 42 and a half. But the ESPN FPI number is saying that they're actually slightly stronger opponent than that, so they're at that plus 39. So there's going to be a positive EV bet on this. Let's take this bet MGM 42.5 at minus 110. Okay, so that 42.5, we're at 39 is the fair odds, but we're going to be given 42.5 spread. That's only worth 5 points. So fair odds of minus 105. So you'd see if any sportsbooks offering odds that are longer than that minus 105. I'm looking at the lines again over on their screen. Looks like FanDuel's giving you minus 105. So that'd be essentially just a push bet if you wanted to take that. But let's keep going down the list. So Florida Atlantic, Michigan State, plus 7, minus 7. This is all right, here's a great bet. So this is Florida Atlantic. We're saying we're getting 2 touchdown coverage at BetMGM, Caesars, Bet365, and DraftKings. but ESPN saying that they're actually much stronger than that and only a 7-point underdog. So this is a week one bet you could place. So Florida Atlantic, we want to move from 7 to 14. That's worth 41 points. So anything longer than minus 141 would be a bet you could place. And I've got the Kelly Criterion up here. So if we want to put that in, that's on BetMGM. We're getting minus 110. So a really big expected value, 11% expected value. Depending on your account value, you can update that to, let's say, 1,000. So you'd put almost $32 on a bet to say that Florida Atlantic's going to cover that 14-point 2-touchdown spread, whenever ESPN's saying that a fair line would be actually 1 touchdown, but you're getting 2 touchdowns on BetMGM, Caesars, Bet365, DraftKings. So I would say that's a great week one bet you could place, Florida Atlantic to cover the spread versus Michigan State. Let's keep going down. So TCU, Stanford. Hopefully this is making sense. I think this is a really simple way to do sports betting. I think it's the proper way. You've got to look at it from break-even perspective, factoring in your VIG whenever you do your line movement to be able to find positive expected value bets and to make money in the long run. TCU, Stanford, we've got a spread of +5 and -5. Let's go back to our line shopping. And this is how quickly you can look at that. Just see if your spread value is much different than what the sportsbooks are offering. So again, we've got some good value here. DraftKings +9.5 at -108 for Stanford. So let's plug that in. Up here to Stanford. And again, you have all these for free using this half-point spread calculator. You plug in your 5, assume that's a fair odd, +100, no VIG, and you want to move to +9.5. How much is that movement worth? It's worth 34 points or -134 odds. Any line that's longer than -134 is going to be a positive expected value bet. So obviously -110 is a great bet to place for that. So again, we can go back up here. That'd be a $25 bet if you have about 1,000 bankroll and assuming a Kelly adjustment factor of 0.25. So there's a really good bet again for week one. Some of these spread bets are looking really favorable. Let's go. Here's one. So these are underdogs covering the spread. Let's look at maybe potential favorites. So Clemson, Georgia. We've got Georgia at home, -16 spread value. Let's go back to our line shopping. This is on Saturday, Georgia. So 13.5 seems to be the best line. So FanDuel at -13.5. Plug that in here. So -13.5. ESPN saying they're actually more than a 2-touchdown favorite. So movement from 16 to 13.5 is worth 14 points or -114. We're getting -110 on FanDuel. So that's a positive expected value bet. Not as favorable than the other ones we've seen, but still a positive expected value bet of 1.53%. So let's say $4 or $5 if you've got 1,000 bankroll to place on Georgia to cover that spread. So the same logic works for, as you shop for Moneyline bets, you could see Moneyline is I would say a lot more caution on Moneyline when you get into collegiate sports because the variability, the market width on those money lines are going to be pretty wide. I would definitely focus more on the spread side with college football. But I've given you a couple of great bets and hopefully all the tools you need to be able to use ESPN's FPI data to be able to make money in college football, make watching the football games a little bit more exciting when you got some money on the line. But you got to do it the right way. You've got to have a systematic way of valuing each opportunity and placing positive expected value bets. Like I said, I've got this model, link in the description. I'll have a feature video showing how you can use Power Query to pull your FPI data into Excel automatically. I'll have links to the home field advantage and the Moneyline conversion table that I'm using. And I got a video that I just released giving you this free half-point spread and includes a total movement calculator as well, so you can be able to do that line shopping, valuing the spread movement, see if it's a good bet or not. Otherwise, that's what I got for you today. Good luck with your sports betting. Looking forward to college football kicking off. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching, and God bless.